What is this major catalyst that is going to drive Bitcoin to $220,000? Hey, this is from a pro XRP guy. This is from the XRP army. John E. Deaton, well, he's the lawyer. He's not officially with Ripple, but he's the one that's been saying that, well, Ripple is going to win, the SEC is going to lose, and so far his track record has been pretty good. And basically, he's said what I've been saying, how 2024 is going to be crazy. Just listen to this. Although I believe a spot Bitcoin ETF should have been approved long ago, I believe the timing of a spot Bitcoin ETF approval is going to help create a perfect storm for Bitcoin. Well, what Wall Street wants, Wall Street usually gets, and guess what Wall Street wants from the Fed? We all know no matter what happens, it is in the not too distant future, second, third quarter, what I'd say, I've been saying next year, right? Mid next year, rate cuts. And the money, the printer of money will happen. That's why I've been saying next year is quadfecta. We will have rate cuts next year. So that's number one. And then increased liquidity, which means the money printer has to spin up because of it, okay? And that also helps to cover the debt, the ever-increasing debt. Bitcoin halving, of course, we can't forget that. That's part of it. You have spot Bitcoin ETF approvals. So that's 3. What he left out is the presidential election. Every single time we have a presidential election, the markets soar up. So he had 3 of the quadfecta that I've been talking about for months now. That's why I believe 2024 is going to be so good. Now, he's calling Max Keiser's 220K may not be so crazy 18 months from now. I mean, that's not crazy at all. A lot of people are a lot more bullish than even Max Keiser because of this flight to quality, flight to safety, and all the things that are coming up in 2024. So this is coming from a very pro XRP guy. So even XRP Army knows that Bitcoin is on its way up to 220,000 and possibly even more. Now, we have another Bloomberg analyst that believes that between today, the 8th, and the 21st, so only like 3 weeks, we will get a spot Bitcoin ETF. And here's the reason why. Because all the applications, they're submitted differently. They're submitted on various dates. So according to this analyst, the SEC doesn't want to give a first mover's advantage because ARK and Grayscale are way ahead in terms of their deadlines compared to, say, BlackRock's and Van Eck's and everyone else's. So this guy believes that the SEC will just pick a day and say, okay, it's approved, and then all of them get approved simultaneously, rather than say, okay, ARK's approved, and then you have to wait 2 months before saying BlackRock's approved. They're just going to pick a day and say, okay, all of them are approved. So imagine that. Imagine within the next 2 weeks, we get a spot Bitcoin ETF approval, and it basically represents 12 of the largest fund managers on the planet getting approval, and now they have to seed their spot Bitcoin ETF. They have to seed it with billions upon billions of Bitcoin. That is coming. If it doesn't come in November, it's probably will come in January. I think SEC may push this back to the first of the year, but who knows? Gary's under a lot of pressure. Keeps losing left and right. And tomorrow the SEC has a meeting with Ripple, and that case may be over too. That could be a huge catalyst. I don't hear a lot of people talk about that unless they change the meeting date, but it was supposed to be November 9th. And if that happens, that's going to be huge too. I am having a kickoff party in Vegas, December 14th. So if you guys want to come out and meet me and other influencers that are in the IFC, this is the spot to go. And not only that, Crowded Combat is going to be there. Their fighters are going to be there. I'm going to invite others in this space, other influencers, other projects. If you've been to one of my network parties before, it's going to be like that, but even bigger this time around. I have 3 different tickets. If you want to participate, you want to join, please do so. Use the code 25 off. You'll get $25 off. And for people that's been asking for a new NFT, if you go with the VIP program or ticket, you will get airdropped an exclusive I Am George NFT. That will be included. Make sure you check it out if you are interested. This is in Vegas. Remember, what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. And you get to check out all the fighters, all the other influencers, myself, and all the major projects will be there. It's going to be a good party, a good time. So check it out. Moving forward, Bitcoin halving is coming up. Okay, so this is a very, very, very easy chart to understand. Okay, you have sell zones and then you have buy zones. And then you have a dotted line or dotted lines that represent halving events. Okay, so if you were showing this to your parents or your friends and you tell them, okay, this is where we are in this current cycle. And if you look at previous cycles, is this a good time to be buying? I would say for sure almost every person you showed this to would say this is the best time to be buying, because twice before, after the halving event, Bitcoin just went wild. So we're right there, like we're right before it. So why would you not want to buy more and accumulate right now? And after this halving event, that's when it gets crazy in 2024. I already mentioned about the quadfecta, and there's probably other things I haven't even thought about. That's all going to happen. And that's the first year. That's not even the second year. The second year after the halving event, which is 2025, that's when we top out at 220,000 or 250 or 300 or wherever it may end up. With all the FOMO, with all the institutions and the trillions that'll be flowing in, who knows? We might go a lot higher. It's self-explanatory, right? You just show this to anyone, you're like, hey, what do you think? It's buy time. It's definitely buy time. And I know a lot of you guys have been accumulating since up here, since 2021, 2022, since 69,000. Those of you guys that have been DCAing from 69,000 all the way down to 15,000, you may seem like you're the biggest loser. And then you're trying to catch a falling knife. But those of you guys that have been consistent and have been doing so, bringing your cost average down, you're already in the green. You're already in the green, way in the green. Imagine when we actually get back up to 70,000, you're so ahead. That's the power of DCA, and I know it works because a lot of you guys have been telling me that you are in the green because you have been consistently DCAing even from the very top to all the way to the very bottom. And people that are non-Bitcoiners, your friends or family and others like Peter Schiff will make fun of you for that. But it's the ultimate strategy that works. If you've been DCAing since the top of 2014 to now, I mean, you're like a billionaire. That's honestly the thing. So that's why a few days ago I did a poll on age group. You know, how many of you guys are in like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. But I truly believe if you have kids and you got your kids hooked on to Bitcoin early or just investing early, and they may be teenagers, like seriously, if you have them understand the power of DCA, as a teenager, if you DCA'd for like 20 years into your 30s and not even hitting 40, I mean, seriously, they would be centimillionaires by then. DCAing over 20 years and going through another 3 halving events, Bitcoin will be wherever, like 5 million by then, and your kids will be centimillionaires or billionaires if they play it right. I mean, that it's really wild if you think about it, because all of us have not been DCAing for 20 years with Bitcoin because it hasn't existed for 20 years. But think about 20 years going forward from here. That's just wild.